Hi peeps, it's Elliot Essentials, or EE for short. Today we're going to be looking at a piece of the project that Spruce is originally from. So without further ado, get ready for some hijinks of him and his husband, and here we go. With a click of a lock, the solid front door swung open, squeaking slightly as it did so. "Kids, we're home," the deep voice rang through the front entrance as the man took off his soaked boots and set them off to the side. "Kids," he called again, stepping into the kitchen. He frowned at the dirty dishes still lining the counter, the children's breakfast plates scraped clean, and his husband's breakfast dishes still bobbing in the browning water. Weird, he thought. A small marble of unease rolled in his stomach, growing with each roll. Cedar is pretty good about picking up the slack when needed. The man paused, tilting his head to the side and closing his eyes, waiting to hear the tall, pale giggle of his children informing that he was playing a game of hide-and-seek with them. He could hear shuffling and thuds coming from the shared bedroom, his husband most likely falling for one of the pranks left by the kids. But normally when one of them fell for a prank, the kids would be hiding to watch and leap out laughing at the unfortunate victim. But he couldn't hear any shrieking laughter, only his husband's quiet cursing that slipped through the gaps in the walls. The man lumbered forward, stopping as he heard a crunch under his heel. His eyes snapped down and he bit on his lower lip as he saw a tarnished paper caught under his foot. Familiar hand-writing stared back at him. He stooped to pick it up, the marble of unease encasing itself in dread, growing to the size of a baseball, rushing against the edges of his stomach. He gulped as he scanned the crinkled paper. Sunspots warped from liquid, now dried. He suspected a mixture of tears and snot. The man chewed his lower lip, wondering what could have caused his child to cry over this particular note. Normally, he would find it on his pillow, or probably scribbled underneath his own messy handwriting. He scanned the note, but couldn't find any other markings other than his own. His hands tightened in fists, crumpling the sheet of paper, nearly ripping it in two. Dread now tearing at his stomach. His breath hitched in his throat, and he sprinted to his bedroom, almost sliding past as his socks refused to play nice on the wooden floor. Thankfully, he was able to nab onto the doorframe and swing himself into the room, panting as he slid to a stop, arms braced against his knees, note clenched in one fist. He glanced up to see the door to their bathroom wide open, and his husband scrubbing at his hair, pink studs bubbling on top of his head and spilling down his face before plopping into the sink. The bubbled-covered man turned towards his partner, slowly, still allowing the bubbles to fall into the sink. "Yes?" he asked, brows crashing. Thank you, Brian. Brows colliding as he stared at his out-of-breath partner. His husband shook his head and stepped forward, holding out a piece of paper. "What is it?" he rumbled. Taking the sheet and opening it with tinted soap-covered hands, he frowned, nibbling on the inside of his lip. His eyes flickered over to the unsoapified man. He raised an eyebrow. It's your note from this morning." The note looked worse for wear at this point. Tiny tears and creases marred its surface, tinted with tiny tears and creases marred its surface, and tinted pink bubbles popped on it too, leaving a pink residue in its wake, covering up whatever had left the dark splashes from before. The pink-haired man sent a sideways look at his husband, and his husband responded by tapping the bottom of the sad-looking note, drawing his eyes to theirs. No reply. That was unusual, especially for the eldest. He handed the note back and grabbed a towel from one of the towel racks, dragging it over his curls, obliterating all the bubbles, uncaring if he stained the towel pink. He tossed the towel on the counter, a berry pink covering most of the fibers. He stared at his husband, a single hot pink curl falling in front of his eyes. "Now, we go find our children." Yep, that was probably one of my favorite scenes to write for the story, because it was one of the only chapters that actually centered on the parents. Yep, so maybe next character might be Chance, his husband, but who knows. Anyway, thanks for enjoying. Bye.